Welcome back to BitcoinCenter live stream number 34, brought to you by Byte Federal. We're going to do a year in review. I'm Cedric Youngelman.
I'm Paul Tarantino.
How are you this week?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, man. It's Christmas time. I've been making lots of food and cleaning stuff, hanging stuff.
Have you been thinking about like sort of 2020, 25? I mean,
I have a lot.
How fast did it go by?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like someone has turned up the clock in the simulation. Like it's just like going at one and a half.
Dude, I stopped like really paying a lot of attention to social media this week, and things have slowed down. It's really nice.
Do you feel like you have more time in the day, I guess?
I feel much less bothered. I'm much happier, way happier. Like I have been on X and I have been on some things, but like when I see those clips that are like, world's ending, everything's gonna fall apart, nuclear war at any second, I'll just like scroll, but like I don't care, whatever, I don't care, and I feel way better.
It's like a cleanse.
Yeah, it's really good.
Before the show, we were talking about almost like our lives in review, and probably the stupidest
shit we've done. Yes.
And do you think our kids are gonna kind of have their own?
Oh, dude, wow.
Or are they just gonna kind of skip that?
I think kids are far more aware. At least my kid, they're far more aware of the dangers these days. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Do you think? I think that's from the phone.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they're much more cautious. But in that way, maybe they're not living life to the fullest. Not your kids in particular. Maybe kids are
no, exactly.
Kind of like living like they're on
man.
TV, like Ed TV.
I just worry about the exposure to all the like drama, and what kind of impact that has on their childhood. It's supposed to like all the things we're talking about, where you just like you really didn't perceive of the risks that you were taking as a kid when we were younger. Just did dumb stuff, got hurt when like you didn't even like even when.
Why do you think they perceive the risk more?
Because it's all over their phones, dude.
Like they see everyone else's sort of mistakes. You mean they learn by watching?
Like the worst thing we saw was the NASA rocket blowing up, right?
Sure. Are you talking about the
now they see people on the daily getting beat, shot, kidnapped. It's all over social media.
Maybe they stay home more than because of that.
Yeah, I think I did hear somebody analyze Gen Z and calling them the home generation.
Like, do they go in the alleys, the malls,
more likely to stay
the
home,
parks
not
after
leave the
dark?
country?
Do they sort of roam the streets in the neighborhoods?
Dude, I'm guilty too, because I'm petrified that something bad's going to happen.
Sure. Well, aren't we safer, generally speaking, as a society?
I don't know. When I turn off social media, I do feel very safe. And like, and when I look around the world, I'm like, everything's like, we look around your local world, your what you touch and hold every day, and it's a pretty easygoing place. But then, as soon as you start flipping through your phone, you're like, oh my God, the world is ending. So and we all know a lot of that is engineered to make us feel that way. Whether that's just purely because they want our attention, or it's because they're trying to engineer the fear and the chaos and the threat. But there's a lot of it is I think overdone. I think the average everyday person, if they put down their phone, wants to be happy, wants to take care of their family, wants to love their neighbor, wants to be a good person. And there's this existential exterior force that's constantly pushing us negative thoughts, and I don't think it's healthy.
I agree with everything you're saying, but do you think some people don't put the phone down because maybe they don't like their lives at home? And I'm speculating here. Maybe they don't like their jobs, or they're frustrated, and so then the phone is like this massive escape that just is continuous in perpetuity, and you wake up to, because then you don't have to maybe take as much action in your own life. The phone kind of gives you that escape, and I'm not talking about the kids
I guess I don't know if it's as much. I don't know how to describe it, because I wouldn't use the word escape.
That the phone's not an escape?
It's not an escape.
Well, I mean, certain aspects
it's
of
almost like
escapism, I think,
it's almost like you feel like you're missing something, or you're not fully informed, and this desire to know everything that's happening in every single moment pulls you into it, and then you end up having all these negative repercussions because it gets your mind to be thinking very negative thoughts. Right. And like, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, about how, like, you kind of have to go through that process to wake up. You kind of have to become aware of all the horrible shit in the world in order to wake up. But then once you're awake, then you have to go through the process of letting that shit go. Because if you don't,
right,
then you're going to be stuck in this like horror loop that fucks with your mind and could spin you off into a very negative place and have very bad repercussions through your entire life. Whereas if you can like learn it, go down that rabbit hole, see the evil, and you can pull back from that by choice. If you're consciously making the choice to not engage with it, I think that there's something there that maybe it's the yin and the yang, it's the dark and the light. And it's like, you have to be aware of it, but you also have to wake up from it and choose to not engage with it and not give your energy to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been just kind of thinking about that a lot lately.
Yeah, that's apt going into the new year. Let's do the year in review. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
This is BitcoinCenter, brought to you by Byte Federal.
Let's be real, right? Praising Telegram for launching a Bitcoin wallet. I've always felt like Bukele.
Bitcoin, this digital currency that's out there that people say, oh, it might be the next big thing. What do you think?
I think it's rat poison.
Bitcoins. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them, but is it a currency?
I don't know. Or is it more like a stock? Or is it a tulip bulb? We're going to debate that.
Stupid. To me, it smells like Ponzi scheme and the greater fool theory, right?
You do like 5 minutes of freaking research.
Well, guys, thanks for coming to my set talk.
Yes.
Don't buy shitcoins. Oh man, I always get that wrong. All right. Bitcoin's recent rally. Do you agree? Is crypto finally dead? Go to the next one.
Matter of fact, they're kind of in the Ethernet. What are they?
There's some rumors that it's this Japanese guy, but others say no, that he's a fake name. It was a pseudonym. I mean, you're literally putting real money onto a system that we don't even know who created it.
It will come to a bad ending.
Is this the most exciting bull run ever?
Not for me. No, it's not.
Welcome to BitcoinCenter, the fast-paced show where the debate is the story.
The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know. Really one of the largest holders in the world, with as many as 200,000 Bitcoin obtained via civil law and various other forms of law, and including enforcement actions. These existing holdings will form the foundation of the new reserve. Unfortunately, in recent years, the U.S. government has foolishly sold tens of thousands of additional Bitcoin that were worth billions and billions of dollars had they not sold them, but they did sell them, mostly during the Biden administration. Not a good thing to have done. From this day on, America will follow the rule that every Bitcoin knows very well: never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows?
Dude, all right. Looking back at 2025, did the Trump White House meaningfully deliver on its pro-Bitcoin promises?
It delivered on stablecoins.
Right? What else, though?
No. No.
Well, I mean, we got the Genius Act.
I mean, dude, this is, I don't know.
We are getting clarity, the Clarity Act, which I agree is mostly about stablecoins. What about the strategic Bitcoin reserve?
Yeah, we got some Bitcoin.
They seized 350,000 Bitcoin.
Who has more Bitcoin, Burma or us?
I think it's close. I think America does.
And Burma mined it. Good for them.
Did they mine?
Burma? No, Bhutan.
I thought some of that was. I thought 150,000 of that was seized as well.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that was all mined.
They do mine Bitcoin.
Well, I'll look into that on my phone in a second. But what about Ross? Ross got out on day 2 or 3. I mean, that's delivering.
Day 2 or 3.
Well, Keone's now in jail like 4 days now, 4 nights.
So I don't know, dude. I mean, like we talked about this, right? When we were all at Nashville.
Yeah.
And Trump spoke.
Yeah.
It was really kind of like compared to when Kennedy spoke. He really understood Bitcoin.
Or his speechwriter did.
He got it. Well, or his speechwriter did. But no, I mean, he was talking, he talks like a Bitcoiner. He speaks like a Bitcoiner. He understands it. I mean, just in that comment right there, like, I don't know whether you should sell it or not, you know, like he's not, he
never sell your Bitcoin. Who the hell knows?
Didn't you get the sense that it was a way to get the vote? Like his
definitely
speech about Bitcoin wasn't like really heartfelt. I think Trump is in the you know, I figured out Bitcoin, and so now let's do crypto everything. Like I learned Bitcoin, and that means everything on blockchain is good.
Sure. And it all means being banking the debanked.
They're looking at it
and a way to make money.
He's looking at it purely as a way to make money and a power play.
I think they're up 11 or 12 billion. So what do you think of that? That Trump and his family have allegedly proffered to the tune of, let's say, 10 billion plus in their net worths in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
What is that? How do you process that as a United States citizen and any president, not just Trump? But
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think I've said this a few times on the show, right? It's not insider trading, but it is, you know, it's definitely insider information about what legislation is coming, what kind of deals are being made, and you could certainly have dinner with your kids and say, hey, we should probably be doing this kind of stuff. And they're doing this kind of stuff. Now, they were into it prior to the election. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this is a dilemma that goes across all of politics, right? Whether it's individual stocks or crypto or Bitcoin. Or just business operations. I mean, look at the Biden family, right? I mean, they profited. The Clintons have profited. Obama, they've all profited from.
There seems to be
the
an
connections
evolution
and the knowledge of legislation and the deals that get made.
Well,
while they're on the clock running our country.
In the 90s, it used to be a book deal for 2 or 3 million. Then you know, and that was to like say 2005, and then with Obama, and I'm only naming names to just because of the years. It's not even the individuals, but just as time goes on. So Obama is now 2008, 2012, 2000. The Netflix deal, you know, 80, 90, 100 million. So that's the evolution, and then now you know, with crypto or any way they could kind of figure things out. Now you have a regime or a family that's profiting to the tune of several billion.
Yeah.
And how much of that is inflation versus versus corruption as a magnitude or an order greater? Do you see what I'm saying? Is it like is this just greater corruption, or is it just the money's worth less, or is it obviously it's both?
I think it's all the above. Yeah, it's all the above.
But is what Trump doing that much more corrupt, or is they've just garnered that much more money out of the corruption?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem that more corrupt to me. It just seems like more money. If anything, it seems less corrupt in that it's more transparent.
It's like anything. It's like the boiling frog. It's like anything, right? The needle keeps moving through every administration. We keep accepting it. We will get all. In the past, I remember, you know, getting all hot and heavy over certain things the politicians did when we were younger, and nothing ever happens to them. They pardon themselves, they move on. Right. So you get to the point where you just like, as a citizen of the United States and many, many countries around the world, where you are not in a position where you feel like you have the power to really even do anything but have an opinion.
I try to keep an open mind from this whole thing is very early. So much that I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, we kind of got off topic, didn't we?
Yeah, but I think it's relevant. But now I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like did he deliver on Bitcoin? Right, no, he hasn't delivered on Bitcoin. There hasn't been a way to acquire more Bitcoin that's revenue neutral, other than confiscation, right? But
what about even?
But we talked about building a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We got the crypto reserve. We've got the Bitcoin reserve that's still the same size as it was when we started, except for I don't know if they've now accumulated more coins.
They have more coins now. There's up to 350.
Yeah,
350,000. I forget where they got the latest 120,000 that were confiscated. Also of note,
wouldn't you rather see them though, like supporting the network? Be like, hey,
the 120,000 was from the pig farming.
Yes, the pig farming.
So those should have been returned to victims.
The victims, right?
Keone or Samurai's Bitcoin and whatever Bitcoin, I guess, personal holdings of their Keone and Bill were confiscated, seized, but then sold by SDNY. So it didn't even follow sort of the 2025 SBNR mandate.
I didn't know they sold.
Yeah, SDNY went rogue there and sold the coins. But I don't think Trump has actually delivered. Is this something though? Maybe he is. I'm just trying to play.
Early on, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, thinking, okay, well, they're going to get stable coins in place.
Are they doing that?
They're going to get the Genius Act in
laying
place,
the seeds?
and then, yeah.
Are they planning and sowing the seeds?
We'll see. I guess we'll see.
Building the rails.
But they haven't delivered that yet in 2025.
Okay, what would be evidence of delivery for you?
That they're participating in the network and that they're looking at Bitcoin as a way for rebuilding the balance sheet of America. That means like they're mining Bitcoin. They're
like I said, participating in the network. That's very interesting to say it that way.
Well, yeah.
Run a node, take self-custody, provide value to the network instead of just confiscating other people's, because that's not providing participating in the network.
They haven't provided I mean, the Genius Act is supposed to provide clarity, and not the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, right? Supposed to provide clarity. Most of the clarity is coming around, like, is your shitcoin a security or not?
Well, they did repeal SAB 121 and rolled out SAB 122, which is banks, and you see progress here.
Okay, so we're talking about we're talking about progress that's related to trying to get traditional finance involved in the Bitcoin space. And
maybe they've been fighting the legacy banking. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Maybe they've been fighting the JP Morgans.
We're not seeing an adoption of the Bitcoin core philosophy, culture.
From that clip, Trump doesn't have understanding of what that is.
Right, and that's what where I was starting with this, where I think Kennedy had an understanding of the true importance of Bitcoin and what it meant for humanity when he spoke at Nashville.
Okay, and Kennedy is in the administration. Is he delivering? Has he delivered on what you think on sort of the health aspects of things?
I think he's
is he being effective and
being somewhat effective in the face of massive pushback. I mean, I think he's doing what he can. He's making deals, doing what he can. Maybe you could say the same thing about Trump.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I was playing devil's advocate. Yeah.
So all right. I don't know. I guess, we will see. Does the support of Bitcoin for Trump mean pumping massive liquidity through the rest of his administration? Maybe that's the way he sees, because that also fills his bags, right?
Sure.
Now that they've got a big footprint in mining and they hold Bitcoin and they have ETFs and they have blah, 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 blah.
Well, I don't think.
Then maybe he knows full well that he wanted to get all,
the
they want to get that in place. I don't know.
The scorecard comes down to Samourai right now. And
I'm trying, man, to be a happy person. You're making me angry.
We should be. I don't think they've delivered clearly on most of the promises other than Ross. I think I take that very seriously, and I think that was enough in a lot of ways. And I wish they did nothing else in some ways instead of.
I guess I just don't.
Seizing Bitcoin, I'm not a fan of.
My, I guess, doubt comes from is this is the pardon of coming from a place of sincerity, or is it coming?
No, I don't think
is it coming from a political promise and trying to keep the Bitcoiners
what's very disconcerting to me
pacified?
is he spoke about Keone when the reporter, and he knows this man's life is in his hands.
Yeah.
He jokes that it sounds like he's innocent. He says we're going to hand this off to our team, and then nothing. And this man goes to like this. This is not like if you are truly a compassionate person. I mean, look, you can't respond to every single issue. I get that.
Yeah.
But this is one that was brought to your attention. You noted it. You should act on things that you speak on.
Right. Like he's going, well,
that to me is a major, like,
I mean, he speaks on all sorts of stuff. So.
Well, then don't do that then.
Well, that's just who he is.
You know, or have a team that follows up and prioritizes based on timing and
that's
justice.
That has been, well, I don't want to make this a political show about Epstein and everything else, but I mean, there's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of things that I think after he runs his mouth, there's a little bit of like, hey, maybe we need to rethink that from his team, from people around him, from advisors, whoever.
Bongiorno's getting back in podcasting. All right, let's get on to the next topic here.
We should have him on the show. Okay, core versus nuts. Looking back at the core V30 op return change, what did the intensity of the debate reveal about Bitcoin's governance faults? And what does that imply for coordinating far more consequential upgrades in the future, like quantum resilience?
I think this was a crossroads. I think this shed a lot of light. I don't think the issue at hand is as egregious as maybe the battle felt. And I still think I mean, people are looking at a soft fork.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's still reverberating. But something I'm starting to look at or come back to is that blocks are still 4 megabytes.
Mm-hmm.
So this wasn't going to affect that. And that's a great thing. So
my positive take on this whole debate was that there's still a lot of people in Bitcoin that are not going to trust anybody. And they're going to try and verify what the real situation is. So if anything, to me, it showed that we still have a significant immune response within the core of not core, but within the culture of Bitcoin to question things. And I think that's positive, right? That we're not the Bitcoin community is not going to just let this stuff go without being questioned and without being reviewed and dug into, and to really try and understand what's happening to see if there's a real threat there. So I think that's a positive way to look at this debate. I still feel like if at some point in the future quantum becomes a real threat, that there's so much value locked up in Bitcoin that consensus can be had because everybody risks losing their life's work. So I don't buy the debate that, this shows us that we're, going to get destroyed by quantum.
No, I don't think it shows that. But I think it revealed a certain level of immaturity. And I think that's sort of natural. I mean, Bitcoin is a very young network and protocol.
Well, and it's an open source. It's an open source boardroom. Like there is no leader, right? So these things are always messy, and you're going to have opinions and you're going to have disagreements, which is fine, right? Like the best government we have is when they can't achieve anything, right? So again, I guess it's like don't trust, verify, and I'm hopeful because that's still alive in Bitcoin. When we stop questioning these things, when we stop calling everybody out, when the community just rolls over and just goes, oh, well, yeah, I guess, okay. That's when I think you should be afraid.
Let me read Shinobi's words here from Bitcoin Magazine back in September. this is sort of, he's alluding to not supporters here. What they do matters, not what they say. Just trying to show both sides as much as we can. Not supporters proclaim themselves defenders of Bitcoin, here to ensure it remains a decentralized, censorship-resistant money. But their actions push towards the exact opposite goal. The things they do to champion mining decentralization actually create dynamics that worsen its centralization. While proclaiming Bitcoin as money and defending its use as such, their chief goal, the software they release and run actively, undermines multiple layer 2s whose entire purpose is to scale Bitcoin's use as money. They are literally fully engaged in a campaign with the end goal of preventing certain kinds of Bitcoin transactions from being made while proclaiming themselves defenders of Bitcoin. At the end of the day, this is an open network and people can run whatever software they want to interact with that open network. That is a critical and important aspect of Bitcoin. This is not about software. This is about people. This is about the stated goals, the stated values of Bitcoin in this space being the complete opposite of the actions they engage in. I hope that Bitcoiners are smart enough to eventually see the Orwellian newspeak that has been dominating the entire dispute around Bitcoin Core and knots over the last few years. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. I'm not sure what the main point there was of contention, but I'm trying to shed light on.
I guess the way I'm looking at this is, I'm not taking one side or the other, because when I've heard both sides debate, I'm seeing straw man arguments on both sides, and I'm seeing people talk past each other, and I'm seeing people use language that kind of frames things in a way just for debate and just for argument. And I see rights and wrongs on both sides. So I think the best that we can expect out of all this is that there's multiple clients, multiple ways for you to interact with Bitcoin. The more options there are, the less censorship there will be on the network, and the less censorable Bitcoin will be. And I think that's the positive outlook from this. I don't think they're ever going to agree, right? These teams are not going to have a kumbaya moment and go, oh yeah, there's a happy medium. That's not, there's a lot of passion on both sides. And I think that passion is probably good. For the passion and the debate is probably good for Bitcoin. We don't necessarily all need to be on the same page. That's, and until, but I don't trust any of them anymore.
Which I think is a good thing. Don't trust, verify. And the system will continue to evolve, and we'll figure out, I think, different and better ways to come to consensus.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the lightning round. Before we do, this is kind of brought to you by Federal. Like and subscribe.
Idea, right? The big dream of everybody in the Bitcoin industry, everybody in crypto has always been fix the money, fix the world.
Right.
The profound idea is rebuild the entire world's monetary order on digital technology. So you start with this idea of digital assets, which offer the promise of, speed of light between 8 billion computers and 8 billion computers 1 million times an hour in self-custody on an Android phone, 24/7, 365 everywhere, right? That's the digital asset vision, and that applies to digital tokens, digital securities, digital commodities, digital currencies, right? That's what holds the entire digital industry together. And then the next piece of that is building a digital capital structure on top of a digital commodity. That's Bitcoin as store of value. And once you get digital capital, you start thinking the third idea is digital credit. What if I strip 90% of the risk and 90% of the vol off the digital capital by over-collateralizing it 10 to 1? Mm-hmm. What if you issue $1 of digital credit for every $10 of digital capital every year, right?
That is the perfect product. I submit to you, I used to think the iPhone was the perfect product, but the iPhone, you got to actually be able to hold it and look at it, and you got to be awake, or maybe be able to hear, or be able to see. But, a bank account that pays you 8% or 7%, you could be deaf, dumb, blind, in a coma, unborn child. You still want.
I don't hear you.
What do you think of those two clips?
I think we have been able to watch Saylor's transition in real time, going from Bitcoin centric to MicroStrategy centric, and from Bitcoin as hope to let's build a digital economy with digital credit. I mean, it's like he's at the end of the day, right? He's got the Bitcoin, and now he wants to build a business around it, and he's going to build products and services, and you can't blame him for that. I mean, he's gonna do what he needs to do to make MicroStrategy the future of finance.
So do you think he's refining Bitcoin for the traditional markets in the way Rockefeller or, refined oil to, you had propane and then you had oil and then you refined it even further to have gas?
No, I think he told you exactly what he's thinking. He's he wants to build the killer app. He wants to build products and services that is going to make his business incredibly profitable and large and make him one of the richest people in the world. And I think he believes this. He's passionate about it. I don't maybe fall as much down the conspiracy rabbit hole as other people do about his having overall bad intentions from the beginning, but it's just he's going to build out what he thinks is going to make his business very successful.
Right. Let's say his intentions are awesome. I mean, he's been great for Bitcoin. Let's say, do you think he's recreating money in the way that there was private money in the 1800s and this money, this is better money?
He says he is, right?
At the same time, or is he just offering better credit and yield?
The other thing I think I felt when I heard him say that was like he's disclosing. He's probably had these conversations with JP Morgan and other big banks.
They definitely are.
And he's telling the world, like, this is what can be done. So by telling that story publicly and openly, like, he's sort of forcing all the big banks and Wall Street to move in that direction because he's saying he's going to do it with or without them. So it's kind of like by selling the world on the idea and open sourcing it, he's forcing the embedded players in the largest financial system in the world to have to move to play chess. He's forcing the game, so to speak, right? And
well, they play chess.
I mean,
back.
That's is that a good thing or a bad thing for?
What about volatility?
And also, I think people have to parse out like what is good for the government and big business may not necessarily be good for you, right? And I think this is where Bitcoiners stumble or have issue with Saylor, right? Because
I think we should play a clip right now.
All right, go ahead.
Can we play the Jeff Booth clip? I just recorded this with Jeff Booth, and I think this is the question or the issue of the year. This is not financial advice and not about whether Michael. Yeah, can we just play the clip?
I'll give you a framework that two different starting points would give you drastically different outcomes. If you saw, and Michael Saylor's a friend, right? And I think he's been really good for Bitcoin. And I categorically disagree with him on this issue that I'm going to say and how he views the world and how I view the world, right? Through this lens. If you thought Bitcoin was an asset, and your view it was the best asset of all time, and it couldn't be taken, then you'd have to ask, what is an asset? An asset has always underlied money because we couldn't trust money. We could never store our time in money because money was always broken. So we always had to find assets to hold our store our value because money was broken. And if you held more assets, you did better than everybody else because money was more broken and they didn't have the asset. And if you saw Bitcoin as an asset, then it would make perfect sense to try to control all the Bitcoin, get it all, and then leverage on top of that and all of the broken money, and then create instruments from that. And all you would have done with the entire world structure is create new kings, right? Same zero-sum game that we've always lived in with different rulers. But from that system, if it looked like that, Bitcoin would get centralized and it would fail because it would get centralized. If you saw now, so one framework, Bitcoin is an asset within a control system. A different framework, a different starting point, is it's a protocol coming in layers, adding more functionality like the internet, bounded by energy. So it's an open, decentralized, secure protocol bounded by energy. That's the first layer. The asset that they think is an asset is a protocol. And different layers are building to provide more functionality, like privacy, like communications in Nostr and in transfer of value in Lightning and Arc and Spark and everything else. And that protocol layer is emerging where the protocol is repricing everything. And now you can store your money in money. So those two scenarios produce radically different opportunities. One, if you're thinking of it as a protocol, you're building value in the layers of the protocol, and you're building society in a world that's never existed, where prices constantly fall, and we contribute in the first global free market to each other through that vehicle. If you're if you're pricing in the asset only, then you're contributing to the centralization of Bitcoin. There is no these things they cannot coexist long term. It's impossible for them to coexist long term. Why? Because the natural state of the free market is deflation. Because the free market, the value that we create for each other has to come to us. And the other system has to absorb that value into a control system. They're incompatible, completely incompatible at time. So now the question is it a protocol emerging in layers, or is it an asset? And for a time it could look like both, but over time we will see it's a protocol. And that means a lot of people, they're taking risks on somebody else's Bitcoin, could also get liquidated in time.
You think Bitcoin could fix Jeff's mic? He needs a
I heard him. I mean, he's brilliant. I love Jeff. Well said. And you know, the whole when he was talking there, what reminded me when I was listening to Saylor describe his digital dollar and the high interest on that dollar. All I could be thinking about was all the people that would get that and not own Bitcoin. All the people that would be happy with that and opt into that system as opposed to owning real Bitcoin. And in the same, you know, he's literally telling you, I mean, Saylor has said this so many times. If you want to get rich, you want to build wealth, own Bitcoin. You want to have an income, own this credit. And I understand it meets different needs for different people at certain points in their life, but everybody needs to have real Bitcoin. If you don't need it for yourself, then you need it for your kids. You need it for the future Youngelmans, right? And I think this is what really pains some of us Bitcoiners when we see the financialization of Bitcoin, and we see, as much as we love Saylor, love what he's done for Bitcoin, and the way he talks about Bitcoin has been so brilliant. I mean, like the What is Money 16 series with Saylor that Breedlove did just changed me forever, right? Like, so good. But then to see this, you're realizing that he's building products and services that are going to pull people away from owning the truth, to owning the thing that will last forever, that'll be here, the bedrock under New York, like he talks about. The thing that's so important that everybody should have at least some. Like, don't get caught up in the financialization, Wall Street 2.0 that he's building until you have your Bitcoin, right? Get that in place, get it in self-custody, because that's the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. The Genius Act and stablecoins taking center stage. Is there anything else we could say about stablecoins? Well, do you think that this is a bridge to Bitcoin and not a forever walled garden that they're sort of erecting?
Sure. I mean, I can see it as a bridge, especially for parts of the world where they don't have a functioning financial system, where their currency is inflating at 45, 50% a year, a month, or whatever. These people need a stable coin. They need to have a checking account in their wallet before they can have savings, before they can invest in Bitcoin. So in that regard, I can see it as a stepping stone into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just like what I described with Saylor, don't miss the forest through the trees, right? Like there is one real asset. There's one real significant change in the world, and it is Bitcoin. Everything else is a derivative of that. And if you start chasing all those shiny objects, you're going to miss the most important thing, the one true thing, the one asset without an issuer, the most pristine collateral on the planet, on and on and on. You're going to miss that thing that will build wealth for your family in perpetuity, because you're buying securities, you're buying non-fungible tokens, you're buying you're buying these JPEGs, you're buying real world assets, whatever they may be, because it's on a blockchain and it's so cool and new, right? It's not going to change your life, right? The cat video that became Netflix didn't really change your life, and maybe gave you some entertainment and a cheaper thing to interact with, but it didn't change your life.
Yeah. All right. I agree. Get the real thing. Take self-custody. Buy that at Bitcoin. Buy at federal ATMs. If you're enjoying the show, please hit like and subscribe. What do you think about Bukele here and the IMF?
Let me ask you that question.
What do I think of Bukele?
You were on this early saying that you didn't think that these were real purchases, right? And
yeah,
it's looking more and more like it's not. So how do you feel about this? Bukele's another one of those that really woke the world up to Bitcoin and did some amazing things and got everybody very excited. I think he's still doing a lot of amazing things, especially for his country and his people. I mean, as a leader of his country, it seems like he's achieved a lot for El Salvador. We were all so excited that he was pushing back on the IMF. So
it's kind of hard to have a worldview where you're like, all politicians are bad. And you say, well, there could be no good ones. I mean, I think that there's a system here that doesn't allow you to gain power without being corrupted or so you don't get into the club until you've been captured. And so then if you so when you kind of say, oh, you carve anyone out of that, you're saying it's like an irrational thought in a way to say, I believe in this construct that there can't be a good politician. And I'm not saying that's kind of how I feel. Especially at a certain level. Yeah. I'm not talking about your local politics where I think your vote might actually be counted and matter. And so I think it's just what a lot of what you see about someone, I like that, but then there are these these red flags. I remember my friends were really into hardcore like gangster rap, and then they really like Biggie and Tupac, and it's like, how can you in a lot of ways, when you do guilty by association, it's like, well, if Biggie's so tough, why is he hanging out with Diddy? And even back then, I think certain things could rub you wrong. That'd be hard to just even you could say like glitches in the Matrix, like Diddy coming out dancing 2 weeks after Biggie dies. That's not what friends do. And some people, you point that out, people say, well, maybe he's at the MTV Music Awards or so.
Right.
I think things with Bukele aren't always what they seem, probably. Yeah, and you hear these great stories.
Can you run a country and be perfect? Can you get to any level of power and do everything right?
How can you be a Bitcoin ethos company and then cut the deals you do with the IMF or work with the Trump regime around prisoners? I think
Well, this is the Saylor thing too, right? Like there's Bitcoin, and then there's running your business and running your country.
So I think that Bukele's done what's right for El Salvador.
Necessarily always aligned.
Right. I think if at your best case scenarios, I think Bukele's been great for El Salvador in the sense that Bitcoin is a great marketing plan. Look at Steak and Shake. Right? You could be a struggling fast food restaurant. You latch on to what you see is trending on social media. You try it out. More people come. It generates good buzz. It's aligned incentives. Now they're a Bitcoin company, but I don't think that they intended to become one. So it's a great thing what's happened. But so look at like something like El Salvador. I think by going into a Bitcoin standard, whatever that means, that brings new levels of tourism, investment, real estate development, maybe at an order of magnitude greater than neighboring countries that have better raw real estate, or better raw beaches, or better these things. So it could bring a lot of attention and development.
It has changed. I mean, I've seen on the trips I've made to El Salvador, I've seen dramatic change, right? I mean, they have done amazing things for that country, and Bitcoin was a part of that. Right, wrong, wins, losses that Bukele has had along the way. Again, I come back to I don't know if you can be in a position of that much power with that much responsibility.
So if you look at something, like COVID, and sort of the universal global response, and I don't think that was just organic. I don't think that was emergent.
Right.
And you look at like something like that, and you say, "Wow, that just appears." I can't see how that's not coordinated. And so then it's like, oh, here's money. I don't think they coordinate on this issue. So I see something like Bukele and Malay in my cynical mind says those must be outposts for the CIA, the NSA. They're allowed to happen. They're test cases. So you can have test cases that are both good and bad for humanity, that maybe not great people coordinate and try to see what happens. And I don't think that there's been real Bitcoin ethos in El Salvador around, they stopped with the legal tender. They rolled that back.
But
they stopped buying.
I understand what you're saying.
A lot of even just rolling it out as legal tender is forced. That's coercion. That's not a very emergent way to bring Bitcoin to the country.
I do understand what you're saying, but at the same time,
it's custodial
by making it a Bitcoin-friendly country, many people have moved there, had influence at the grassroots level. Bitcoin Beach is a great example, right? And
some people
they've taught a whole new generation about a new future that could be built with Bitcoin. Even though Bukele may have had to make compromises with the IMF, and maybe he couldn't fully implement the Bitcoin dream that he proposed early on.
You can't have a gun.
You're still having good influence.
You can't have a gun there. You can't use marijuana there. So just in terms of freedom and what is freedom and what should be free could be debate. It's on the spectrum. The commercial about the prisoner scared the living shit out of me. Like, I mean, I get there's two sides to every story.
Right.
And you try to balance them both, and I try to balance both in my mind. And can hold two contradictory thoughts. Like,
I guess I'm not of the. I think when I look at that,
and I just don't know if we're being co-opted in this story over the longer term, because you can have hope, you can see progress, and then things can be turned off with a light switch.
Yes.
And
we
the
don't
way
know.
I think,
we don't know.
I'm having a conversation with Aaron Day come out early next year about, the Trump administration has probably pulled forward 10 times what a Harris Biden administration could have done in terms of crypto surveillance. Right. So things aren't always what they seem, and over a longer arc could be very regretful.
Yes. But at the same time, and this is the way the world works, right? This is the way the universe works. As if that could all be true, and probably most of it is, but simultaneously, you're infecting.
Yeah.
The mind virus of Bitcoin is infecting people around the globe, and especially younger kids, with a vision of the future that's completely different that they could not have imagined. And so, yeah, you might be losing on one battlefront and winning on another simultaneously. But everything is progressing forward. And if, Jeff Booth is right, and we have an unstoppable protocol, then we need that mind virus to spread. And we need to incite builders to build freedom tech because they believe in that vision. So even though your leader may be trying to oppress that vision, if the message is there and the belief is there that that's a potential, humanity will move forward. And that's why I think, like,
do you see El Salvador as a place you would move if you had to flee America?
No. I don't. I mean, that's just my personal thing, though. Like,
does that not say a lot? Does that not say a lot about the leader?
That has nothing to do with Bitcoin.
But if the well, I think it does.
For me, it doesn't.
I think it does.
For me, it doesn't.
I think it does.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna.
I think if it was a more Bitcoin-esque country, you would feel more like, wow, yeah, I definitely would go there. That seems like, if I couldn't be here, wow, that seems like the place to be. I can't think of a reason not to go, but I could think of a lot of reasons where I'm like, well, maybe things aren't the way they seem, or it won't always be the way they seem. That doesn't mean people aren't fighting for things.
I look at it totally differently. This is just more of a personal thing. Like, I don't like, the environment I live in is much more important to me than a lot of things. And I
think
it's not my.
The Second Amendment, I think, carries a lot of weight in this.
Just like there's so many people that love Dubai or love Singapore,
okay,
and fall in love with the safety and the security that comes from that kind of surveillance and oppressive regime. I guess that's not the right word, but I mean, like, Dubai, the UAE is not like. I mean, it feels totally free because it's so safe. Like, you could leave your laptop and you could leave your car unlocked, and no one's going to steal anything from it. But it's because it's surveilled, and because the repercussions of doing something
free and safe is a perspective.
Yes,
this is something I talked about with a fraud.
Right.
And it's very, like, you feel. I wouldn't feel free in Dubai because, like, that doesn't like. I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I feel very safe and here, but the safe is like, I feel safe as a community. Wow, this looks like everyone looks safe, but, like, I don't know if I'm safe here because they could nab me.
Right. Freedom comes with radical acceptance of risk. Even true freedom comes with acceptance of risk.
Even in the United States, when I go through security at any border, and they take your ID, I feel less safe in that moment. Like, they just stripped me of my documentation.
Yeah,
they have more power and more control in this moment.
Right.
And that's going through or coming, either way on the border. And it's like, when you go into a different country, you give up as a citizen of another country. You're labeled. You have less rights, and I think certain countries portray themselves as less welcoming. Or
I don't
know. Yeah, it's a good question. Like, would you feel more safe in El Salvador or Dubai?
It's hard to say.
And what is some?
I mean, if I had to choose one or the other,
and then throw in Switzerland, throw in like Switzerland.
I would definitely go to El Salvador over Dubai.
Okay, now throw in Switzerland.
Probably go to Switzerland.
Right. And I'm sure there's,
but
there's more,
but I don't know. That'd be a hard one for me because I like.
I think there's also different threat factors. Like, maybe even like the Dominican, maybe there's more crime on the street, but maybe you could disappear more easily.
Yeah, but that's a whole, like, that. I don't know, man. Like, you just like.
That's, I mean, like, McAfee.
Yeah. Look how that worked out really well.
I'm revisiting Snowden, right? You mentioned before the show, like, so there's a video of McAfee who's like, Snowden is a CIA PSYOP, guys. He was a contractor for the CIA or the NSA. He leaves America, he goes to Hong Kong, and then he's trying to get to Ecuador.
right?
For really no good reason,
right?
Because I don't think that really worked out for Assange, but but to get to Ecuador, he's like, I travel a lot, and I would not go through Russia.
Right.
It's just not a good route. And then he gets to Russia and he can't leave. And I don't know what. Now, apparently, I was grokking it like he's a free man in Russia. Like, I don't buy any of this.
There's, I mean,
and the girl that he was with at the time he did all this, she is now in Russia, and she comes and goes. Even like, I don't buy any of it.
Yeah.
I don't buy a lot of these. Yeah, they don't pass the sniff test.
No, of course not.
Snowden just doesn't get to zoom into conferences and say his piece.
No, he does.
No, he doesn't. Like
he gets to say whatever he wants to say.
Then it's either a Russian op or a US op.
Or both.
Or both. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Where would you go if you had to leave America? Would you go to Russia for safety?
Well, I mean, first of all, like the practical implications of leaving America.
Let's say America was like as a Bitcoin, like it's not safe for Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
And you're trying to flee as a Bitcoiner. Like, do you go where they're like, come, tell us you're a Bitcoiner, document it as an entrance fee.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do you go somewhere where it's like, hey, why don't you just go somewhere where
at this point
has nothing to do with being a Bitcoiner?
Maybe Africa.
All right, we'll get to Africa in a second. All right, let's move. Let's go. Let's go with Africa. Yeah. Africa's Bitcoin moment. I don't get any of this.
Really?
Okay, no, I don't.
It's totally ground up, grassroots.
Yeah, I don't know how meaningful this is. That's what I mean by this. I just don't. I'm being honest.
It's meaningful for them. Does it need to be meaningful for you? It doesn't need to be meaningful for you.
No, well, I mean this in the way of, hey, what's going on in El Salvador is it meaningful for me? But I'm interested, and I think it is.
Oh, I think what's happening in Africa is
so why?
Cool.
What is so?
What is
interesting?
Okay, so you have basically the people adopting Bitcoin and using it as money, regardless, and prior to the state. The different parts of Africa approving the usage. They just literally grassroots said, hey, we're already operating our own cash economy with our own banking system. And we can now do this digitally with our phones over Bitcoin. They're adopting Lightning, they're adopting Sats. It's becoming a currency for the people, and the people are jumping into the future without permission from the state or the banks. It's literally just the opposite of what you see happening in the West.
I'm gonna go back to my conversation with Aaron Day, which hasn't come out yet. But he made a point to me, you know, growing up, you'd hear things like, you should finish eating whatever's on your plate. There are kids in China starving.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about China, now the message there, I think, is a greater message of it's destitute there, all peasants.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to 2025, 50 of the top 60 technology companies in the world are in China.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe what we were hearing in the 80s and 90s wasn't the full story or the truth. It was just what ABC, CBS, and
sure.
So either there's been tremendous progress, right? From there's like no progress, there's no technology there, they're all poor and they're starving, to huge cities now and big AI companies and technology companies, and or there was progress all along.
Well, if you think back
in Africa,
China, if you think back to China, right, when we were laying fiber and we were worried about fiber optics, and we were getting digital, I mean, we were getting DSL lines,
sure,
like brought to our neighborhood. They jumped straight to mobile.
But my point is, right, so they did a lot of jumping and
yes,
development.
And Africa's doing that.
Are we going to see
Africa's doing that
on payment networks?
System.
Is this going to result
on the Bitcoin network
in material progress of Africa? Even not all of Africa, maybe, but like pockets of Africa.
Think about it. Like if you're using Bitcoin as money, think about what Jeff Booth said. Now your money is also your savings vehicle.
Sure.
And growing.
On what scale is this going to impact African society? Is this going to
That's huge. That's huge.
Well, I'm trying to learn.
Right. Like, so if you were just doing that on the African, what is the franc or what the French currency that they used in Africa, I forget what it's called. If you were just doing that and it's inflating away on a daily basis, you're never going to get ahead.
I'll give you for example. So in college, in grad school, we were talking about microfinance a lot and what it was going to do for the unbanked and people who couldn't act. And I don't think it delivered the results.
Where?
Anywhere.
Okay.
That are still being pointed to, at least in sort of notable news sources.
So that microfinance still had to be backed by traditional finance.
I get that,
right. And this is just exactly what's so cool about what's happening in Africa. They're not relying on traditional finance for permission or rails.
Are we going to wake up
move
in
forward
8 to 10 years?
They've just
and see a drastic change in African society around buildings and infrastructure, airports, government.
Incredibly young population. I forget, some huge percent of their population is like 19 or younger. So they have a giant uprising and growth in their population. They have a new digital economy that's built on banking themselves through their mobile wallets with sats. They're going to be building infrastructure for themselves. It's literally,
does this connect Africa
like the coolest thing happening on the planet?
Right. Is this going to lead to an influx or an exponential growth in African entrepreneurship intertwined with the rest of the world? More importing, exporting, products, services.
I'm not even thinking about it in that level. I'm thinking it purely from the perspective of if you take anybody with a passion and you endow them with some Bitcoin when they're young, and now they're living on a money that's growing while the rest of the infrastructure around them is inflating away, they're going to create wealth, and then they're going to have the ability to innovate and bring good things to people around them. When you have abundance, sure, some people are going to be greedy and just want to rape and pillage, but others are going to want to share that abundance with the people around them, in their community, in their family. So endowing as many people as possible with hard money that grows is going to lead to good things. This is why we had the golden age. This is why we got beautiful art and beautiful structures when we had hard money, right? Compared to the garbage we consume and build today. So yeah, I think we have an enormous amount of adoption on a Bitcoin standard operating on sats in Africa, and that will lead to massive progress within the country.
So when the bright orange future,
currency, you fix the world.
I don't think everyone's going to get the bright orange future at the same time. It will be interesting to see which continents get there first.
Yeah.
Maybe Africa will get there first. It'd be awesome. It is a bit of a race. I want to be on the continent that gets there first.
Yeah, dude.
I
want to start picking up your African.
My parents went to Africa. I gotta go. It's one of the places. I'm gonna go right now.
Let's do it.
Let's not even do the rest of the show. No, if you're enjoying the show, hit like and subscribe. This is a serious topic, I guess. The Samourai wallet census.
Yeah, we ended the year on the biggest story of the year.
Well, we got a few more stories, I guess, but this is last week. We did the telethon or the streamathon. They're up to about 11,000 signatures on the petition. I think Keone's on his 4th or 5th night in jail. I don't think Bill has reported yet. I think he goes to a Portugal prison. I think he's an American citizen. I'm not sure. How worried should we be about this going into 2026? Do you think this story is going to get lost?
I hope not. To me, everybody wants to talk about money transmission and what they pled to, but the real lesson here is privacy. The real thing that the Southern District of New York went after was privacy, and that they don't want to have transactions that are private. The Genesis Act, the Clarity Act, there's a bunch of language in there about how to monitor the blockchains more. how to oversee all these transactions, right? So this is all about eliminating privacy. So should we be worried about this? I don't know if we should worry, but I do think that, like what Jeff was saying, Jeff is so smart. He hit so many good things in that one little clip. Building the tools for the future so that there's different layers on top of the Bitcoin protocol that are also decentralized, that are also uncensorable, so the Bitcoin can become freedom tech. Like, in order for Bitcoin to be the protocol that it is today, to be as resilient as it is today, it had to live on a system that is pseudonymous. It had to be there. So privacy tech, freedom tech needs to be built on these other layers. And so I think it's a battle that will continue. I don't think this fight is, maybe fight's not the right word. I don't think the evolution of Bitcoin is over. These kind of struggles will continue between people that want to preserve their sovereignty. And that doesn't, and I think people need to realize, right? Like, I can hear people yelling at me right now, but just because you want privacy and you want sovereignty doesn't mean you're doing illegal things. And that's not a defense of criminal activity, right? I think we should fight crime. I think crime fighters should be pursuing it as hard as they can. In fact, I mean, we're all online every day seeing horrible crimes get committed that go uninvestigated or investigated poorly, or and we witness that all the time. But so all for fighting crime, all for making the world a safe and secure place. And we need to build tools that allow us to do that in a private fashion so that good people can preserve their humanity.
Yeah. Trump said, "I will defend your right to self-custody," during his keynote speech at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville in 2024. I do think he was, I don't think he's a Bitcoiner, but he was definitely pandering to the crowd. I think he knew some tropes.
But you can have
fire Gensler.
You can have self-custody and not have privacy.
Well, yes, you can, but that's not really anything of value.
Right.
And so he promised to defend the right to self-custody. Trump made a promise, one that he still has the opportunity to keep. So without financial privacy, self-custody is dramatically weakened, as seen by the growing wave of physical attacks on Bitcoiners in recent years. The liberty previously enjoyed by software developers to build self-custodial Bitcoin tools like Samourai wallet is now on trial. So the chilling effect. The U.S. government has, for the most part, learned not to attack an already hardened legal precedent like freedom of expression. However, by going after the developers and maintainers of Samourai wallet directly, the DOJ had a net negative effect on financial privacy in the United States, and it spread a chilling effect among Bitcoin software developers. Immediately following the arrest of Rodriguez and Hill, Phoenix Wallet, arguably the best self-custodial Lightning wallet in the industry, exited the U.S. app stores. A decision made to protect their business from a U.S. government that appeared hostile to Bitcoin self-custody software. As of April 2025, though, Phoenix is once more available in the U.S. Wasabi Wallet, another financial privacy software company, stopped offering its non-custodial mixing services to the public, and wallets like Blink from El Salvador geo-fenced American users from their app entirely. So if Trump is really going to defend the right to self-custody and stop the eventual deployment of a central bank digital currency, which I don't believe he's going to do that in the United States, or stop it, he will have to address the need for financial privacy. And he's got to set these guys free.
Yeah. So again, self-custody and privacy are not at all correlated. And I think that, oh shit, I forgot.
Well, without privacy, then they're going to make you declare your self-custodial holdings. They're going to tax them differently. They're going to blacklist address. I mean, we can see where the slippery slope goes. So while you're trying to catch your thought there, I think we have to keep up the noise and the pressure. I believe that, probably the next round of media will be from Keone's.
No, I remember
wife,
what I wanted to say.
Lorna,
right? I watched a recent conversation. I forget Ray Dalio was talking to. He's talking to somebody, and he was talking about how central banks will never hold Bitcoin because it's not private, right? The central bank wants private transactions.
For themselves, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bank of International Settlements wants private transactions. We discovered through Doge that a lot of the government had and wanted private transactions. Some of those things were for good purposes, and some of those things were for bad. And I think when we talk about privacy, we have to frame it under this, idea that we all want the same things, regardless of whether you're a central bank or you're, the central bank of Cedric. Like we're all should be due the same rights and the same capabilities. And if you're up to no good, you should expect to be pursued. And if you're using privacy tools and you're, sovereign, and you're doing things good and you're providing value to humanity, then you shouldn't be looked at as a criminal, right? So it's this is the battle, this is the education, this is the space I think we need to get to with privacy, and I think that's going to be a battle for a while. That's going to be something that we are constantly
well, this is the and they fight you phase. I don't mean literally right now that this is the wall coming at us, but this is the fight. I mean, around privacy, I think, and surveillance.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. Number go up. So has this been a reality check for Bitcoiners? Why was price expectations completely misaligned in 2025, it seems? Were expectations too high? How did you navigate this year personally?
Yeah, so I mean, this year was ended with a fizzle, right? Like I think we, and there's been a lot of analysis I've watched over the last couple of weeks as to why and what's coming, et cetera, et cetera. The way I look at this is that I believe in the long-term value of Bitcoin, and that whenever price doesn't go as high as I expect, it's more opportunity to accumulate. You never have as much Bitcoin as you want. So Bitcoin under 90K, Bitcoin at 70K, Bitcoin at 60, 50, 40 is a massive opportunity, because at the end of the day, the acquisition of Bitcoin will far outpace new supply, and adoption is going to outpace new supply. It's going to outpace sellers, right? I think earlier in the year we talked about the Bitcoin's IPO moment, and I think at that point in time I was kind of like poo-pooing the idea.
I love it,
and it's made more and more sense to me now over the years, regardless of how these whales got into or rationalized the selling of their Bitcoin, whatever their mindset was. We have to realize that those coins are now moving and dispersed into more hands and more people that are less likely to sell. Another batch of long-term hodlers. And if you don't have,
I also don't think selling's
the
the right
amount
word.
of coin that you have that you want yet,
Now's your chance.
Now's your chance. This is a huge opportunity for anybody who understands Bitcoin's long-term value proposition.
I don't think they were selling their Bitcoin. They were trading it for things they wanted or needed, that they waited for, that they worked for, that they fought for with their family and their loved ones who didn't believe them, and probably made promises along the lines of, you said this thing when it hits blah, blah, blah.
If you go
we
from
would
zero
get the boat.
to a billion, you're gonna
and even I think, I
think about things a little differently.
Yeah, I'm not an OG. I'm not in this group, right? But if you're in that group, and I think in some ways things that you're selling or trading for are liquidity. the ability to do the things that you're trying to do. And there's a way to kind of go about that at probably a certain level that I'm not in tune with or aware of, but I'm sure they're going through those steps, and it's a natural order of things. But to your point, it's moving to stronger hands. Those were incredibly strong hands. I don't think they're doing weak things. I think they're probably acting rationally for their situation in ways we can't imagine because we're not in their shoes.
Imagine if they would have sold 80,000 Bitcoin in 2017.
Right.
It would have crushed it. Right.
And it's not that that's also what people don't realize.
That they can sell.
Why'd they wait? No, maybe they wanted to sell much earlier.
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe they weren't true believers in 2017 and 2021, but they didn't have the liquidity, the options,
or the infrastructure.
Or the infrastructure to do the things they wanted to do.
Exactly.
And it wasn't the amount of fiat they gained, it was the optionality in their own lives.
Also having the clarity around inheritance, how to structure this wealth and a trust. Like there's a lot that goes into that. So
and maybe the next batch
around more to that, but
and that doesn't mean that the next long-term holders will have the same. They might have different and better options for the same things in 15 years, that weren't available to long-term OGs.
No, we absolutely
at this
will.
point in time.
We absolutely will. And just people need to keep coming back to this. Like, I mean, this is.
But
I know it's hard because I've been there during other past bear markets where it's scary, man.
I've sat through presentations where people made projections, mining companies, mining pools, and every chart around Bitcoin price was up and to the right, just to lesser degrees. Like chart A, this is our optimistic one. Bitcoin's going to be 500,000 at the end of 2025. Here's our medium base case, mid-range of 250, and our bear case is 175.
Right.
And it was just like, how do you not have, for argument's sake, it flat and not another one down and to the right and do your projection? Well, that can't happen. What do you mean? And the more we heard it was only going to be one way. I mean, it's almost obvious in hindsight, like, it never goes the way we all expect. And,
no, it never goes the way you expect.
We all expect
you got to take the opportunities you're given, and if we stay here or lower for a period of time, it is a great opportunity. And don't kick yourself because you didn't take advantage of this opportunity when the price is back over 100,000 at some point in the future, because you will. And at every major bear market, I've always come out of it wishing I had bought more.
Yeah. All right, we have a special round here. Best tweets of 2025 according to Grok. So hit like and subscribe, chat in the comments. This is BitcoinCenter brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself. All right, let's rip through these. This one speaks for itself. I'll read this one.
You're the official tweet reader because I don't have my glasses on.
At 26, Ross launched a website that would change Bitcoin forever. At 29, he was sentenced to die in prison. After 10 years behind bars, Donald Trump just pardoned him. Here's the wild story of Ross Ulbricht, Bitcoin's most controversial pioneer. He's got 167,000 likes. Oh, man, I don't have the thread in front of me. I just have that main tweet. I'll try to pull up the thread, but yeah, I mean, I think this is the story of 2025 as a Bitcoiner. And I think in a weird way, we began the year on this note. This was the day one thing. Not day one of the calendar year, but very early on in the administration, day one in January, he was released. And now at the end of the year, we've gone full circle and we have a couple of our own in prison. We're going to prison, which I feel is a very parallel sort of case. I think the parallels are striking from coders trying to enable you to use your Bitcoin the way you want to.
I mean, Ross built it.
I mean, what was Ross trying to do? Ross was trying to help you use freedom money to buy what you wanted on the open market.
Well, he built Silk Road.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. But he combined it with he didn't build Silk Road with $1.
Right.
He could have done the same exact thing, but he built it with Bitcoin, which made it more powerful, both ideologically.
What I'm saying is the point of difference for me is that I would assume Ross knew he was building something
quite illegal,
regardless of what the currency or exchange of value was on it. So
yes, I will agree that note, and it's very clear that FinCEN and Samourai did their research and were on the clear right side of the law. They were doing nothing illegal.
They knew they were going to be under scrutiny.
Right. And the government went after them for conspiracy, not doing anything, 100%. But I think, this gets into sort of, for Ross, it's more about like lawful versus legal. So I think it was illegal what he did. I think that was obvious, but I don't think it was unlawful what he was enabling people to do. Like, I don't think it's unlawful to enable people to buy marijuana for their dying relatives of cancer. It's kind of like in A Few Good Men. It's like you reprimanded him for bringing a hungry man some water.
Right.
Like, I mean,
right. No,
aren't we supposed to help people?
I hear you.
So I don't think what Ross did was, I think it was maybe illegal, but I don't think it was unlawful.
Right.
And he was trying to help Bitcoiners use their money he was trying to help people use their money to get the things that they wanted in the world.
I think he knew the risk he was taking, right?
Yes, I think even, I think Keone shows us the government could just show up your houses with a bunch of drones and a bunch of agents and a bunch of armored tanks and accuse you of conspiring to do basically anything. And now you have to mount a defense. You have to argue. You have to accept everything they're saying until trial. Accept everything they're saying is truth, all their assertions and facts, and that's no different, I think, than China. They could just show up at your door. Like, this is no different than Russia. They could just take you away, have a trial, and put you in a glass box for the whole world to see, and fight and make you fight with one hand tied behind your back.
Right.
So that doesn't feel. I don't know.
No, I hear you. This is a part of.
And as I think a Bitcoiner, like, you're more on the front line than a PayPal user. And Charlie Shrem, I mean, they didn't let him send his money to a charity. PayPal didn't. I mean, PayPal can suck in that way, but like you're probably much more at risk as a Bitcoiner in this country now.
Sure.
Than So, all right, let's move on to the next one. I want to bring up let's see if I can bring up that tweet real quick. Here it is. All right, so it goes on to say, meet Ross. He's an Eagle Scout from Austin, Texas. Physics scholar on scholarship, early Bitcoin believer, libertarian idealist. In 2011, he had an idea that would transform crypto forever, a truly free marketplace using Bitcoin and privacy tech. Sounds like a scumbag. He called it Silk Road. The goal, create a free market outside government control. The rules were simple. No violence allowed, no stolen property, no harming third parties, Bitcoin-only payments. But things quickly spiraled out of control. The site exploded in popularity. First major platform to use. I mean, this sounds no different than Craigslist. And Craigslist had rampant sex trafficking, prostitution, money, all of it, crime. They never shut Craigslist down. In fact, we have Angie's List now. And
yeah, good point.
The site exploded in popularity. And I think this is why, almost to our detriment, that Bitcoin was focused on payments in the beginning. The site exploded in popularity. First major platform to use Bitcoin, pioneered escrow and review systems, created trust in digital payments, helped prove Bitcoin's real-world use. I mean, he was doing this he was doing better work than Amazon, but it also became known for illegal goods. Maybe not unlawful, right? But illegal goods. Mm-hmm. And the feds were watching. So in October 2013, FBI agents tracked Ulbricht to a San Francisco library. As they arrested him, one agent kept him talking while another grabbed his laptop, still logged into Silk Road's admin panel. The site was seized, but the real shock was yet to come. The sentence, 2 life terms plus 40 years. No possibility of parole. First-time nonviolent offender. For comparison, major drug dealers got 10 years. Site admins got 8 months. Other defendants averaged 2 to 5 years. Why such a harsh sentence? Many believe it wasn't about drugs at all. Silk Road was the first major proof that Bitcoin could work. It showed that digital currency could challenge government control, and the message was clear. From Bitcoin, he reflected, from prison, he reflected, when Bitcoin clicked for me, I got so excited. I thought I could make a difference, but I was impatient. I rushed ahead. Mm-hmm. He spent 4 months in solitary, started teaching meditation to inmates. Despite everything, his impact on crypto is undeniable. Proved Bitcoin's real-world utility, pioneered digital reputation systems, which is very interesting. Drove early Bitcoin adoption, influenced modern crypto marketplaces. And the controversy continues. Some see him as a digital freedom fighter, others as a cautionary tale, many as both. So, on the takeaway, innovation often lives in gray areas, and Bitcoin's path to legitimacy wasn't straight. I don't know. I think it took a lot of genius and sort of visionary insights for such a young person to put all this together.
Yeah, for sure. And
courage. And I really don't think he did anything wrong. I think he maybe enabled other people to do things that were wrong in the eyes of the government, which is very similar to Keone's case. Right? Like we can't really figure out what you did wrong, but you allowed all this to happen. And you allowed people to use money the way they want to. And we're going to assume that's bad. And we're not necessarily going to charge the bad actors or go after the, and the Ross thing, so similarities, yeah, he wasn't the only one with access to the username. So I really believe other people who had the access.
Why didn't the DEA come to him and say, hey, look, you built a platform that's going to allow us to see in real time who the drug dealers are, and who's buying, and you're going to keep your mouth shut, and we're going to use this to fight crime. That was not on the table.
Drug activists came out and said this is great for drug users, and we hate drugs. They're not in alleys getting shot and stabbed. They're not buying drugs that will kill them because of the rating system. Right. So if anything, this was improving the lives of drug users. Improving the safety of the drug trade.
It would allow them to track really to the roots of a lot of.
It helped them with banking and cash. This was sort of like a red light district in Amsterdam.
And if it's when viewed through the eyes of like what we're hearing Uncle Jack talk about as far as the formation of who Satoshi is and how Bitcoin was created. If that's accurate, then, Ross just found himself in the crosshairs of a bigger battle.
Well, yeah.
And that still could be going on today, right? A bigger battle between
two
you different power structures in the world.
Why didn't Ross take Satoshi like protection, to be more anonymous, more private, maybe in a different country? You knowingly know you're doing some stuff that is good, even if you believe in it, which I do.
Right. That was kind of where I was starting with this, is that that you're going to be stepping into a hornet's nest with this one.
Right. Which is really, that's what was really glitchy with his speech, that he was nervous about growing the mushrooms and getting caught. It was like, dude, you're doing way
riskier things.
Yeah, that's going to upset some people in Humboldt County down at the sheriff's office. You're going to do 3 to 6 months tops.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where I really didn't understand the line of thinking in terms of his own freedom and consequences and the calculations he made.
Yeah. You'll never know.
We'll never know. Well, maybe we'll know. Maybe we'll understand more.
Maybe Ross will tell us someday.
And I think to some extent, even if you're not acting on the wrong side of the law, even people in the privacy space, especially after Samourai now, they definitely know, even if you're on the right side of the law, they can come after you. All right, let's move on to the next one here. The next tweet. It's got wow, it's got 188,000 likes. This was actually technically from 2024. I can't stand Donald Trump. He is braggy, he insults people for no reason, and he's just a brutal personality. But my mind is made up. I'm voting for him, and here's why. I mean, I don't know if I agree with this. He puts Americans and their well-being first. Kamala will not. I mean, I don't know if he's really truly American. I don't know. He will bring Elon into the cabinet as the efficiencies are. This alone may be the best single reason to vote for him. I don't think that's really panned out. I don't want to read all these. I don't think these have all panned out, but it gets to sort of like the lesser of two evils, I think, here. Do you think they're keeping illegals out of the country? Do you think the border's actually, when we hear about deportations, we see sort of the fights? What was interesting, one statistic I saw was that deportations are actually down in aggregate numbers compared to the Biden years. That it went from about 1,800, I don't know if it was a day or a month, to about 1,200. That 1,200 is obviously making a lot of noise. And I invalidate
one
these
thing
numbers,
I know is that we don't know.
We don't know.
None of us know. And every time I've thought I've known, I've been proven wrong.
Yeah.
So are we getting to the point where do we need to know?
What are we talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next tweet.
there is no knowing. Thank you. That's the way I want to feel in 2026. Do that again.
Yeah.
2026.
You get there. You'll get there. All right, this one. Let's see what this me in 2011 instead of claiming 5 Bitcoin for free. Do you get this one?
Yeah. He's playing video games instead of getting 5 Bitcoin.
Ah, okay. I think that's people in 2025 at 88,000.
Yeah.
I think in 20 years. I love
these interviews that you see on X where they go around and they talk to college kids and they're like, hey, would you rather have your tuition paid off or one whole Bitcoin? And they're like, yeah, my tuition.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. This is Tyler Winklevi, or one of the Winklevi twins. I just donated 1 million in Bitcoin, 15.5 Bitcoin to real Donald Trump, and we'll be voting for him in November. Here's why. You think he got his money's worth? Maybe Gemini did.
Yeah.
But what about like someone like Gary Cardone? He, I think, paid 12 Bitcoin to be at like an event with Trump.
Wow.
And I think he felt that it was better for Bitcoin if Trump got elected, better for Ross. He definitely put his money where his mouth is. One day, those Bitcoin will be worth an astronomical fortune. They already are. I mean, 12 Bitcoin is an astronomical fortune to most of us, all of us.
I mean, it's yeah.
Do you think I mean,
I don't like giving any money to any politicians.
12 Bitcoin, huh? All right, let's move on to the next one here.
I don't care what logos they're wearing.
All right. First time ever breaking 120K. This got 38,000 likes. I don't know. I don't think 120K is the number that, I mean, it was exciting. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it's all local all-time high, but
yeah.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Next one's from Pete Rizzo. So someone just moved. This is from 11/15/2024. This is not new news. Just in. Someone just moved 2,000 Bitcoin worth 179 million. They held from 6 cents to 90 grand. Legend. What do you think?
That is pretty legendary. I wish I knew what Bitcoin was at 6 cents. That would have been amazing.
So, you know, it's possible they had more than 2,000 Bitcoin.
Sure.
But you think, like, why not just, how about 1,000? And the move doesn't mean they sold, but let's say they sold.
Yeah.
I mean.
But that's some balls, dude, to move that many Bitcoin.
In one transaction?
Yeah.
I wonder if there was a test one. All right, let's move on to the next one.
That was the test transaction.
That was your test transaction. All right, let's go to the next one here. So now we have Bitcoin logo appears in a video game from 1991.
Yeah, this is a trip. And it's got the rocket. It's so weird, dude.
And I think one of the developers was named
what were these?
Satoshi
I forget
Nakamoto, I think.
Something like that, or is like something backwards, or Nakamoto Satoshi or something.
Yeah,
weird.
and I think one of the developers might even been like a Josh Man. I don't know, but this is a weird thing. Do you? I mean,
crazy.
But is that the? I guess that's the Bitcoin symbol.
It also kind of
is it a coincidence? They were like buckazoids. They were called buckazoids. Okay. So it's a B and a buck. I mean,
it could be just lucky coincidence.
But I think Satoshi
could be
name
somebody
was sort of,
somebody could have been, seeing the future. Somebody could have left their body and viewed that logo at some point in the future. It's just crazy, dude. What's this? Is the all-seeing eye? What is that? Is that what that is?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
I need my glasses.
The all-seeing eye. Yeah, that's the buckazoid and the Illuminati.
Yeah, there's an eye, dude. Come on.
All right. There's the record scratch. Let's move on.
It also looks like an Android drone on there. An Android drone.
All right. Well, here's Bukele tweeting on September 7th, buying 21 Bitcoin for Bitcoin Day. So that's August.
So where are those coins coming? Are they moving from like the central bank to their equivalent of their treasury? Like how are they spoofing these buys? Like if they're spoofing them?
As far as I can tell, it's moving it from different government wallets to the actual quote unquote reserve wallet. And it's just moving and transferring coins around, not new purchases. So make of that what you will. What do you make of that?
That's sad.
Like, why tweet about it or brag about it if you're not actually buying Bitcoin?
Because you want people to think you're buying it.
Okay.
I don't know. Why else would you do it?
All right, you move there. All right, next one. Bitcoin flashes fresh. I hope to visit though. Maybe. Well, I don't know, man. You go in, hope you get out.
No, it's shit. El Salvador's great.
They got to bring me down there and prove it.
It's great.
Bring me in and let me go. All right. Bitcoin flashes fresh golden cross. This was on December 17th, 104,000 views. What does this mean? Bitcoin has just experienced its 5th golden cross, a technical signal historically followed by significant price rallies.
Yeah. This means that this will be the first time it breaks. Because every time something becomes well followed, it doesn't work again. So quit posting this shit so that it keeps working.
Previous golden crosses were followed by strong price advances of 87%, 47%, 78%, and 33%, like the Freemason number. Historically, these crossover signals appeared early in cycles during times of hesitation and doubt before widespread optimism returned. All right, well, we'll see. This is like Groundhog's Day. This is like 6 more weeks of a down market. All right, let's go on to the next one. What do we got here?
You tell me, dude.
I'm opening it up. Okay, this is from. There's another recent one, 12/22.
The gold chart.
Yep. Breaking gold just hit a new all-time high, and history shows that Bitcoin always follows it with a lag.
God, quit talking about this shit.
Another Groundhog's Day here. But this happened in 2016, 2017. Gold starts trending up first.
Dude, I have
Bitcoin
a
is still slow to start.
Do you know how many charts I have on TradingView with shit that people have said always work that just don't work anymore?
Dude, this is depressing. Now we got 6 more weeks of Bitcoin sideways. All right. Well, is that the way to end the year? I don't know.
Dude. This is the way you need to end the year. You better buy more Bitcoin. You need it. We all need it. This is an opportunity to accumulate the coins and get to the targets that you want faster.
Well, I think my biggest tweet of 2025 was probably, I think it got 10,000 likes, was Bitcoin will never go to zero, because I just put in a order for all 21 million Bitcoin at one penny.
Yes, that's right.
Which I don't know that shows your sentiment's really good or really bad, but I guess people are really excited it's not going to zero. Another one was if you own a $20,000 Toyota Camry and have 2 Bitcoin worth $230,000 in cold storage, people think you're broke. But if you finance a $230,000 G-Wagon and have 20 grand in the bank, people think you're rich.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about where we are. I think it's true. All right. Well, this has been Bitcoin Center, brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself. We got the point of sale. We got the crypto wallet and the Bitcoin ATMs. Buy the Bitcoin, put it in self-custody, stamp your seed phrase, maybe use microseed, use the code MATRIX. Take care of your health. Be a self-custody maximalist. Use crowd health. How does it feel to get BTC coal this Christmas? What does this mean?
Coal, dude. You just stick it in your diamond hands and it becomes Bitcoin.
It's going to be a great Christmas in retrospect.
It's good, dude.
It's all of 2025.
I like it when Bitcoin goes down.
If I asked you at the beginning of the year, would you be excited and happy if I told you, if you had future knowledge that now is going to be a sideways year and you could stack all year and you had that in hand in January, but you had to accept that no blow off top in 2025, would you?
No, I've always wanted to stack below 100. So I've always felt like anything over 100, I was overpaying.
Do you think in 2025,
I'm happy with this.
Did we have a lot of time under 100?
No, not enough.
Not a lot of time under 100.
And we went there fast.
Like kind of going up. Right, but then we stayed above, we went down, we went above. Like it wasn't all under 100.
Yeah.
So maybe a lot of people spent their bullets. So in July at 115.
Yeah. Reload, buddy.
All right, reload. All right. Any more questions or comments? Please hit like and subscribe. We do this every week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, except for next week, I think, the holidays. But every Tuesday, tune in. Bitcoin Center, brought to you by Byte Federal. Any parting words?
Buy more Bitcoin.
There you go. Buy more Bitcoin. Put it in self-custody.
I don't know what else there is to do.
Use it. Spend and replace. Run a node.
Yeah, but I'm looking out for you.
Run privacy software. Use. We need more anonymous developers. That's what I think we need. Less hired and funded developers, more anonymous developers.
People buying real Bitcoin.
I think you should start vibe coding after the show.
That would fail miserably.
All right. All right, Francis, is that it? You want to run the outro?